Hello, my friend. Welcome to a new episode of Podcast Your Story Now. I am your host, Julie Marty Pearson, podcaster and coach for new and aspiring podcasters. I'm so happy to have you here with me today to listen to this new episode. I'm going to talk all about networking, why networking is important for podcasters, and why it is even more important for female and non-binary podcasters. I have been in the podcasting space now for 3 or 4 years, and what I have found to be one of the biggest keys to my success, to my journey in podcasting, to continuing and keep going as a podcaster is networking. Networking is so important to each of us as individuals because most of us as podcasters, as businesswomen, as entrepreneurs, we are behind a mic, behind a camera, alone, or with one other person. That's most of what we're doing in podcasting. And we need that connection with other women, other podcasters. Networking has just been key for me to find my community, to find my support, to share my expertise, to gain more visibility, to build relationships, to connect, to collaborate. Collaboration is so important as a podcaster, but networking also helps me keep going. It keeps me inspired by what other women podcasters are doing, about what I want to try and do after I've been inspired by them. And honestly, just keep going in general. Sometimes you wonder, are you making a difference? Is anyone listening? Why am I doing this? And you question everything. I think that happens in all areas of business, but I know as a podcaster, it can become very lonely and you kind of feel isolated and wonder, is anyone listening? Is this making a difference? And so for me, networking and finding my community has been crucial. So let's walk through the 10 reasons why you, as a podcaster, need to be networking. Number 1, you need to expand your reach. That's right. Networking allows us to connect with other creatives. It expands our audience and it reaches new listeners. I have been to numerous networking events and met people I would have never met otherwise, who had never heard of me or my podcast, who loved what I was doing, loved my topics or what I wanted to talk about on my podcast, and they wanted to listen. I have found listeners, I have found collaborators, I have found guests through networking. So expanding your reach through networking is crucial, and it also helps you find new opportunities. That is so true for me. Networking has helped me find not only new guests for my podcast, but it also has found opportunities for me to guest on other people's podcasts. And that is crucial. Networking helps you make that first connection so you don't feel like you're cold calling or emailing or messaging people and they're like, who are you? Why do I want to talk to you? So it's really important to have that connection, but networking also opens up other types of opportunity. You may learn something new about what's going on in the industry. You're going to stay informed about changes, events, other types of opportunities to meet people and to expand your network. I know it's been through networking and community that I first learned about podcast conferences like Podfest and Podcast Movement. And it was because of the people I've met and networked with and who have become a part of my community that I was not only inspired, but encouraged to attend these events, get to meet these people in person, get to hang out, get to share, just have a good time, but also learn together about podcasting. Please network. Whatever your podcast is about, you want to not only network with podcasters in general, but you want to network with other podcasters who talk about what you talk about so that you can learn from them and vice versa. Okay, number 2 reason that you as a podcaster need to be networking is to find support and build relationships. So support systems are crucial for women in all areas of life. I have found as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, as they call it, someone who works from home in her home office by herself, who only connects with people via texts and emails and messages and Zoom, of course, that having a support system is crucial. As podcasters, we need a support system of people who are like us, who understand the challenges of what we're doing every day, but also can celebrate the triumphs and the successes. So important. Let me tell you, you want to have someone who understands what you're going through, who has been there, who is pod fading. Hello. I think every podcaster has had that feeling. You just feel like, why am I doing? I'm just keep going. What am I making a difference? The fun of podcasting, you can lose it a little bit when you're doing it week after week. We need breaks from everything. We need breaks from podcasting too. I know I have taken them, but to keep me going and come back from those breaks and keep pushing through is the support system. And the other crucial part of this is not only finding your support system, but building those relationships, networking, and finding your people, as I say, your tribe, your community, really does foster a culture of support and happiness, camaraderie, creating a positive and empowering community. It is so important to have that and to stay consistent in finding that support, but then building those relationships. I know it takes effort on my part and on others to do that with me. And so it's just really important to find those relationships and build them. It's something that I consciously do with my friends who are podcasters, but also just in podcasting in general. I've actually started a new monthly network event called the Women's Podcaster Party. And it's what I want to do. I want to help people find that support and build those relationships. And if I can help somebody else do that, it's even better for me. Okay. Our third reason that you as a podcaster need to be networking. Why? It is to learn, grow, inspire, and be inspired. So as women and non-binary podcasters, networking provides us the opportunities to learn from others, to exchange our ideas, and grow in general as women, as professionals, and creators, as podcasters. And I know that is so true. I've learned so much from other people that I have met over Zoom and now many in person at podcast conferences. And it's really important to learn from others because why reinvent the wheel if somebody else has already figured out how to do it, right? I know recently I was meeting with several friends over Zoom who are podcasters. We were talking about video and doing video and editing. And I mentioned what I use for editing, which I used a script for audio and video editing. And the other two people I was talking to haven't used it. And they didn't realize how easy it was to edit video with this. And I'm like, hey, let's jump on Zoom another time. I'll show you how to use it. Your mind will be blown. That is what networking is about. It's about learning from each other, helping each other grow, and be inspired to try something new that maybe you haven't done before. So networking connects us as women podcasters with other women podcasters, other women creators, providing inspiration, support, and encouragement along the journey. We need all of that. We need inspiration. We need support. We need encouragement. I know along my journey, there have been points where I've thought about stopping my pet podcast. It doesn't matter. No one's listening. Should I start a second podcast? Will anybody listen to that? And so being inspired by other podcasters, especially female podcasters, has really been important to me, and having their support that I know I can ask a question of or support from, or especially like with my new podcast, you guys are listening. This is podcast number 2 for me. And it is because of the networks I have created, the community I have, that I'm having guests on this very easily. I haven't had a hard time finding guests. I have several interviews recorded at this moment. So many people are willing to help me create and grow this new podcast. And I wouldn't have any of that if I wasn't networking over the last 3 years. So learning, growing, being inspired, but also receiving feedback. We all need feedback. It's hard to take it. It's much worse to see a really negative review on your podcast and sit on Zoom or in person with a friend who is also a podcaster and say, hey, was this good? Was this bad? What did you think? You know, we need that constructive criticism from our friends, from our peers, from other people who are in the same business and media as we are. And in the end, it's all about helping us to improve our shows and our content. And we all need that. We need networking to learn, to grow, and also just to be inspired to say, hey, look what they're doing. I can do it too. So important. Okay, number 4 reason why you as a podcaster need to be networking is that you will gain visibility and you'll be able to do things like cross promote for even more visibility. So, networking helps us as female podcasters to increase our visibility within the podcasting community and beyond, because you never know when you meet someone in a podcast community or group, they're going to tell people outside the podcaster group. So, you're just gaining exponential growth and visibility because of those new people that you're meeting. And you're also establishing them as a trusted person that they can go to, but that you're establishing yourself as a trusted voice in your content area, in your niche. Oh, hey, she knows pets. I can go ask her this. Or my friend just had this question. I'm going to send them to her. Tell her to listen to her podcast because she knows what she's talking about. So gaining that visibility within the people you're networking with, but also new opportunities from guest appearances to sponsorships. Trust me, I have learned about stuff through other people, whether it's the editing software I use, conference I should go to, a speaking opportunity I should apply to, a new podcast I should listen to, new podcast I should apply to be a speaker on. So many things, many more I have learned through others, through networking, through community. So important to keep growing your visibility, and cross promotion with other podcasters is such a great tool because you are helping each other. Okay, reason number 5 why you as a podcaster need to be networking is to collaborate and grow. So just like I said before, when you meet new people, that's expanding your visibility and then they'll share with others. But when you collaborate, whether they're on your podcast as a guest, you're on their podcast as a guest, which is cross promotion, episode swapping, I have done several times. But there's other ways you can help. You can tell other people about the podcast. You can collaborate together on a masterclass or an event, a summit, a retreat in person or online. You can collaborate on a blog post or an email list or whatever it may be. There's so many different ways that you can collaborate and help each other grow your shows and reach new heights. Networking also connects us as women podcasters with potential collaborators, whether it be, like I've said, joint projects, episodes, events. Creating opportunities for mutual growth is key to our own growth and increase in visibility. Okay, number 6, why as a podcaster you need to be networking. Not only is it going to keep you going, it's going to boost your confidence. Yes, I need confidence boosting all the time. Sometimes it's a little CBD gummy I need to boost my confidence that day. It's, sharing a new idea with a friend, or just, talking about what's really hard right now, what's really keeping me stuck. Networking is key to keeping you going, to boost your confidence and want to keep doing more. So when we network, it allows us to share our work with each other, receive feedback, gain more confidence in our abilities as creators, as podcasters, as women. I know there have been topics I've wanted to cover on both of my podcasts, and I'm like, I don't know if this is something people want to hear, want to talk about, want to think about. And if I can speak to somebody else about that and say, hey, this is what I want to do. What do you guys think? That feedback, that support is crucial to keeping my confidence from dipping when my downloads aren't great, when I don't feel like I'm connecting with my listeners. Networking in my community, fellow podcasters, is key to keeping me going, to give me that boost in confidence when I need it. Okay, number 7 reason why you as a podcaster need to be networking is to share your expertise. People need to know what you know. You have to share your expertise as a podcaster because no matter what you think of yourself, you know something that some other new podcaster doesn't know, or some other podcaster who's been doing it a while and is coming back and doesn't remember XYZ. You know something they don't. I know that there have been things when I've worked with my clients and I'll think, oh, this is easy, XYZ. And they'll be like, wait, what? I had no idea that's how you create an RSS, get put on Spotify, get put on Apple, create a blog post, whatever it is. There are so many things we do every day as podcasters, as creators, as entrepreneurs, that we think, oh, everybody knows that. but not everybody does. So networking is a key way to show where you shine, what you know, what you can talk about at the drop of a hat, how you can help other people to grow and expand. And then down the line, they're going to do the same for you. So you want to share your expertise, you want to share your knowledge with others to contribute to the growth of podcasting in general. We have to contribute so that the podcasting community can keep growing. And it's also important because when you're sharing your expertise, other people will too, and you're going to hear about emerging trends, new technology, innovations you didn't know about. I'm always hearing about a new app or a new platform, a new software. There's things like AI constantly changing. I'll talk to somebody else. Oh, they used a script too. Oh, did you know you can do this now? And they're like, what? When did that happen? So many things that we miss because we're so busy. And so sharing your expertise is a great way to show people what you know, but also to get them to help you too and share what they know with you. Okay, number 8. Are you ready? Here's reason number 8 as a podcaster, you need to be networking. To stay informed, to know what the heck is going on out there in the podcasting world. We don't listen to every podcast. We don't check in with every podcast platform. Like, I don't even know what's new on iHeartRadio right now. I don't know what are the top podcasts on Spotify. There's so many areas within podcasting that networking helps you to stay informed and to discover new perspectives you may not have known about. So when we're networking, when we're building relationships and building our community, it helps us to stay up to date with whatever the trends are. What are the new development? I think I was talking to another podcaster when I learned that Buzzsprout, which is my host platform, has an app for your phone now. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so much easier than having to pull it up in the web browser and refresh it. I learned about that from someone else. Even though I've used Buzzsprout for years, this was a brand new thing. Probably got buried in all my emails. I didn't see it. Someone else told me about it. So staying informed, learning about new things, new trends, new apps, new ideas, new ways to post video, whatever it may be. Like, what are the best practices? What are people doing that's the fastest, the easiest, but still you're getting quality out of your content? So important to stay ahead of the curve and to learn from others. And that's not just about in terms of topics like technology, but just about topics of what we're talking about. What's your content? Are you sharing diverse voices and perspectives on your podcast? Do you need to learn from someone else who's done it before you in a different way? It's really important to be building our content, but also expanding our own perspectives and understandings and making sure that whatever we're doing is helping to promote diverse voices and perspectives. I think this is so important for women and non-binary podcasters. We are the voice of other women, and we want to make sure we're sharing all of the voices that are out there that need to be heard. One of the reasons I started this podcast. Okay, number 9. The number 9 reason that you as a podcaster need to be networking. It allows us to share resources. I have gotten so many tools, tips, little how-tos by networking and being with other podcasters. Okay, here's one. When I was first podcasting, I used Zoom. I had no idea that you could record it on 2 audio tracks. So that what I'm talking, when my guest is talking, are 2 different audios so that we can clean them up separately. I was like, I don't even know what that is. What do you mean? 2 tracks? How do I do that? Oh my gosh. That was a tip that I learned from one of my podcast community, and it's invaluable. So many things like that we need. How to create from our content. We all struggle with this. We publish this content. We put out episodes we love. We feel so empowered by. But how do we really make it accessible to people so they can learn too? Sharing resources is key. Okay, number 10. Number 10 reason that you as a podcaster need to be networking. Stay motivated and inspired. I've talked about it myself. The only way you keep going is by learning from others, push you to keep going, and just do your best. You want that encouragement, that motivation, that accountability. That is key. For me, accountability has been key. It's what I do for my clients when they're starting their podcasts. So you want to do it. You want to make a difference in the lives of others. You want them to share your stories. You want to share their insights and expertise. And you want to do that yourself, but also learn from others. So there you go. There's your 10 reasons that you need to be networking as a podcaster. If you have any questions, send me an email or DM and I can give you more info on any one of these reasons. And if you want to join other female podcasters in the community, you can come join the Women's Podcaster Party on Friday, May 10th. This will become a monthly event that I will post on all of my socials, linked here in the show notes. You can follow me on Instagram at Podcast Your Story Now. And we will have these new events monthly for connection, collaboration, and just sharing resources and ideas. I think it's going to be great for all female podcasters and non-binary podcasters. And even though this group is specifically for us, all podcasters are welcome. No matter how long you've been doing it, who you are, what you talk about, come join the podcaster party. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. It means so much to me to have you here. Make sure you don't miss any new episodes of the podcast. Hit subscribe wherever you are listening right now, and new episodes will automatically pop up in your feed as they come out. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with friends and family, and make sure to leave a rating and review wherever you are listening. That will help the podcast to grow. Come on over to Instagram at Podcast Your Story Now to keep up with me and the podcast so that you can be ready to podcast your story now.